Just one moment, we'll just check that's recording. Yeah, it looks like we're recording now. Okay, so welcome to Horticulture at Wiltshire College, Lackham. And it's myself, Chris Mikolovich, and my colleague Helen Roberts, who's also there. We're going to be just talking to you a little bit about studying horticulture at Wiltshire College on the Lackham campus. So we're recording the session. So if you haven't seen this, if you didn't manage to make it to the live session, perhaps you'll catch this up on the recording. So that's fine. And we'll have any questions at the end. Okay, so why is horticulture important? So briefly, horticulture is the science, art and technology and business of cultivating plants, including sort of edible plants and ornamental plants. It's a very broad industry and includes many other specialist fields that are playing a very important role in conservation and in people's health and well-being as well, especially at the moment during the current times with things happening like lockdown and whatnot. It's practiced at all levels, from individuals at home and professional horticulture businesses through to national organisations. And there's actually a growing shortage of trained horticulturalists in the UK today. So there's numerous job openings in all areas of the industry. So going into horticulture is an exciting time, and obviously the thing to bear in mind there is there's lots of vocational training areas that are sort of highly competitive, and there's not always jobs for potentially everyone on completion of their training. Whereas in horticulture, it's slightly the opposite. We've got a green skills gap currently, so there's currently more job openings nationally across the different horticulture industries than there are young people with the training qualifications. So at a time where there's sort of concerns with unemployment and whatnot, I think that's a real bonus for going into horticulture. Okay, so the industry is currently employing about 300,000 people at the moment. So why come and study at Lackham? So studying at Lackham, we've got 22 acres of outdoors classroom. You can see there an aerial shot of the walled garden. So we've got historic walled gardens, arboretums, professional glass houses that have just recently been renovated. So they've got weather stations and proper automated watering systems, and integrated heating systems and venting with the weather station. So some really good facilities there, as well as professional workshops and machineries as well. Okay, for those people who are more keen on an interest in landscaping, we also have some landscaping facilities to develop hard landscaping skills. Look at a couple more images here, so you can see through some of the glass houses, again aerial shots of the walled garden showing some top fruit and soft fruit, and another shot there in the top centre looking across the walled garden, and of course Lackham House on the right there. So when you're working around the gardens, you're primarily working the horticulture area, which is the walled garden, the landscaping, tunnel and the workshop. But then we also get around Lackham Woods and around all the terraces around Lackham House and carry out other work. So our current groups, for example, would also be doing lawn renovation and maintenance and working the herbaceous borders and mixed borders around other parts of the campus as well, which gives you a really good insight into professional gardening. Okay. So careers in horticulture, your course will lead to higher level study and potentially an apprenticeship or direct employment in your chosen field. And there's lots of different roles in the industry, which I'll just briefly go through. But basically what we have, the progression routes after doing, for example, our full-time course, level 2 technical in horticulture, is potentially going on to study the level 3 course with us at Lackham, or progressing on to an apprenticeship route at level 2 or level 3 with us as well. It also can stand for university points for going on to study things like environmental science and other sort of HE courses as well. And lots of our students actually go straight into paid employment in the industry, where employers will sort of develop their continued professional development and training and qualifications and whatnot. Okay, so there's lots of progression routes. there. So just looking through that list there, you've got professional gardeners. So if you look at the big estates and landscape gardening companies and maintenance companies around Wiltshire and Somerset, you've got sort of trainee gardeners, qualified professional gardeners, landscape gardeners, team leaders, assistant head gardeners, and some of those larger companies, directors and team leaders for different specialist areas of garden maintenance and landscape gardening. On estates, you've got the progression up to sort of assistant head gardener and head gardener. So there's sort of pay and progression within the industry there. There's also garden design, nursery professionals working in plant production, soil and plant science and technology, horticulture therapy, health and well-being, as well as sort of community horticulture, which is, where there's actually quite a lot of job creation in that area as well. Things like establishing market gardens and community gardens in areas for which are of benefit within the community as well. And there's paid posts available where people need to be able to run those projects. Rangers for parks and gardens. So you probably find there'll be parks that are near you where you live, and there'll be various different maintenance there. There might be a couple of sort of dedicated gardeners who work there, but generally they're sort of roles that are carried out by rangers now, and they might have several green spaces, public spaces, and several parks that a team of rangers are responsible for, and they might have their own depots and glass houses where they do plant production, but they'll also be carrying out all the grass cutting and tree work and hedge cutting, but also all the planting and the development and maintenance of those green spaces. There's a strong link between horticulture and forestry. Whilst horticulture is not obviously you're not trained as a full arborist, we do at level 3 cover things like doing visual tree assessments and being able to identify issues around tree failure and remedial actions for that, and how to maintain and establish trees well and maintain their health. But even on the horticulture course, you learn all the botanical names of trees and learn all the different techniques for correct planting and establishment of trees. Okay, so there's a good link in there. There's obviously the horticulture retail sector, heritage and conservation, sports, leisure and green spaces, and different turf specialisms for maintaining sports turf and fine turf, as well as sort of bowling greens and amenity areas. So turfs are sort of quite a large area of the industry in and of itself. Okay, so that just gives you a little bit of a flavour of some of the different, so it's quite a broad industry. Like I say, between those different bullet pointed roles there's about 300,000 people currently working in the UK. Okay, so courses that we're offering at the moment is level 2 technical certificate in horticulture. That's full time, 3 days per week at college and plus 1 day's work experience. We're not currently offering the level 3 technical certificate, but if we have an uptake of interest from students who have the entry grades for level 3, we could potentially run it. But what we generally tend to recommend is that the students come in on the level 2 technical first, because you'll then learn all the range of from the ground up, all the range of basic gardening skills and techniques that are really critical and that you really need to know and understand, and all this sort of underpinning knowledge, whereas level 3 tends to be more specialist and more supervisory and kind of presupposes that you've already had that training at level 2. So like lots of vocational areas that actually recommend entry at level 2 anyway, regardless of your entry grades, and obviously you're funded to be in further education for several years, so you can complete your level 2 in 1 year and then progress on to a full-time level 3 course, either at another college, potentially if we have the uptake at Wiltshire College, or as I say, we also run level 3 apprenticeships if so there's that option for work-based learning as well with us. But the main course that we're running for full-time Hortics at Lackham is the level 2 technical certificate, which is a very good, very strong course, and a very good entry point for learning horticulture. We also run the RHS Level 2 certificate in practical horticulture and the RHS theory qualifications, which are both run part-time, 1 day per week, which Helen will mention a little bit more about in a moment. And these are more sort of, whereas our Level 2 technical is aimed at 16 to 19-year-olds, school leavers entering the horticulture industry, and it's a full a full-time course. The RHS qualification 1 day a week, which runs for 17 weeks, is more targeted towards older adults, mature students, potentially with work and childcare commitments and things like that, who are looking to study and retrain in horticulture 1 day per week. Obviously, bearing in mind, if you're sort of leaving school or you're 16 to 19, you'll be funded to do a full-time qualification, whereas the RHS qualification you pay for privately. It's a commercial qualification, so just the slight difference between those two. But we do occasionally have students who complete full-time training with us and then come back and do an RHS qual as well. Okay. Oh, just going back to that slide there, because it's kind of an interesting one. That's one of our gardeners there, one of our gardeners at Lackham. So it's a gardens team as well as a curriculum team. And that's Phil on the Amazon flail mower, ride-on mower, and it's one of the benefits of studying at Lackham is that we do have a wide range of machinery and a professional gardening team who do a lot of different, very, very experienced. They do a lot of different projects and work around the campus, developing the campus. The students actually get to get involved with and work alongside them, which again gives you that sort of ability to develop your professionalism, give you a real sort of learning environment that mirrors the industry. Okay. How am I doing for time there, Helen? I think we're okay, aren't we? We'll just go a few more minutes. I think you've got your mic turned off there, Helen, if you wanted to.
Yeah, we've got sort of 10 minutes left, so we do get cut out sort of at 10:30.
I'm just going to whiz through very quickly. I'm going to speed up, and then if you want to just talk about RHS for a couple of minutes, and then we'll do Q&A. Okay, thanks for that. So horticulture apprenticeships quickly. So we've got the level 2 horticulture apprenticeship, the level 3 horticulture apprenticeship, and really we're focusing more on a general horticulture operative training on those, rather than sort of specific areas like landscape and whatnot at the moment. Although they do cover those as well, because we want that broad training model. Those are 4 days a week at work and 1 day a week at college. Okay. So that's the difference with work. So if you're on a full-time course, you're 3 days a week at college and 1 day a week in the workplace. And if you're on an apprenticeship, you're working for an employer. You're 4 days a week with them, but you come in 1 day a week at college to do your college work, and obviously you're paid on an apprenticeship wage doing that. Whilst what I recommend to most of my school leavers coming in to study horticulture for the first time is to do centre-based full-time training initially, because you have that supported learning environment, and you cover all the underpinning knowledge and skills and techniques very well, and then you can progress on to then do an apprenticeship the following year once you've got that underpinning training. Okay. Move on to the next slide here. Again, just very quickly, horticulture contributing 9 billion to the UK economy and employing around 300,000 people. 70% of businesses surveyed. I said recently, it's a couple of years ago now, but could not fill vacancies across those sectors. So we know there's great opportunities out there in terms of employability. What our students are involved in on FE courses, we just so again, just listing some of the things we do there, working with professionals from industry such as APL and Barley, so that's Association of Professional Landscapers and British Association of Landscape Industries, and carrying out things like estate skills, fencing, building pathways, and carrying out maintenance and repairs, as well as paving and things, garden design, learning how to actually produce design drawings and set out drawings, machinery operations, etc. So I'm not going to go through all of those, but you can look back through and see those. And there's some garden design taking place there. Again, in these images, you'll see some hard and soft landscaping. So soft landscaping, soft landscaping is mainly sort of developing all the sort of borders and the turfed areas and whatnot. Whereas the hard landscaping would be, the actual sort of physical pathways and surfaces and structures on a site, okay, and the groundworks and whatnot. So we sort of teach a range of skills across those areas. And there's just a few images here of a show garden that was built at Bath and West by some of our students, a couple of years back. All right. Okay. It just says there again, part-time RHS courses, levels 1 to 3, start a new career or fine-tune and establish one, if you're looking at that. And those are our commercial qualifications, but we're currently focusing on running the level 2 RHS quals. Okay, Helen, I'm just going to pass over to you to talk a little bit more about those part-time qualifications, if that's okay.
Yeah, hi there. So I'll just talk a little bit about the RHS level 2 courses. So we're currently running them at the moment, be it that they're online. So at the moment, they run as 3 standalone courses. So you have a practical course, and then there's 2 theory courses. So effectively, if you get all 3 of those, you can get a diploma at level 2 in horticulture under the RHS umbrella. So it's aimed then, these courses, at students who are mature students who may be looking to do a career change. So age ranges from about 18 through to about sort of 50, into the 50s. So you get quite a range of students actually on those courses, and those courses are in high demand. They're always filled. We currently have a waiting list already for September for those courses, and that's particularly the case with the practical course, which is a hands-on, 100% practical course where you are assessed by continuous assessment each week. So there's no exams in that practical course. And then the 2 theory courses then are effectively all theoretical content, which dovetails really nicely then with the practical work if you're then doing the practical course. And those theory courses are then assessed by examination. Chris, do you want me to say something about the new quals?
Just turning my mic on there. I think we'll probably keep that separate. If anyone's watching this on particularly keen to put some more information about new RHS qualifications, then we'll deal with those as separate inquiries, I think, for saying this. And it just reminded me there, going back to our full-time course, the level 2 technical, that I should mention is, just going back up to the start of PowerPoint. What I should mention with that is just quickly the unit content. So just very briefly, it's made up of 7 units, and you have basically health and safety, working in horticulture, plant science and plant identification and knowledge and selection, so you can actually learn your plants and how they're used in the garden setting, soil science and all your plant establishment and maintenance of horticulture areas, tools and equipment and machinery, horticulture business. And then the optional unit that we run on the level 2 technical is the commercial sort of professional gardening and landscaping unit, which is made up of, it's quite a nice unit. It includes a bit of garden design in there, and garden maintenance, as well as some hard landscaping and some plant propagation. So actually sort of learning different propagation techniques for growing your own plants from scratch. Okay, so that's kind of quite a nice practical unit that covers a big range of the qualification, because that's ultimately what you want to get out of your first year's training. Is you want to sort of cover a bit of of the whole subject really, and then sort of see where you go from there. Okay, so I'm going to finish there, so what we'll do, I think, if I because we're going to sort of take questions now from people who are within this presentation, but I'm going to close the recording there. So for those of you watching this on a recording, please just email me. The email's in there in the chat below. You might not be able to see that, but it's chris.mikhailovich@wiltshire.ac.uk or helen.roberts@wiltshire.ac.uk, and you can find us on the Wiltshire College website as well, or contact us. Contact us in that way. All right. Helen's just putting those up there again on the chat, so hopefully that comes through on the recording as well, and you can see those. Fantastic. Okay, I think I'm going to finish the recording here. Oh, well, actually, this might be relevant for people watching on the recording. So thanks, Ellie. I can see that coming through as a question. How physically demanding is the course? So basically, we have a sort of, I suppose, a policy that I like to sort of run the horticulture on, trying to be as barrier-free as possible. And what I mean by that is, you know, in the past, I've had students who've had haven't had full mobility, and they're still able to carry out all the all the range of horticultural tasks, because obviously if you say, for example, you're going to be doing tree planting, if you've got you might not have the physicality or the mobility to be able to plant 20, 30 trees a day and be able to sort of be digging holes and doing sort of hard physical labor like that, all day long. But actually, we're not doing that on a training course. What you'll be doing is you'll be learning the techniques and the stages of planting a tree to a given standard, to an industry standard, and practicing that, and planting one tree. So less physically demanding and more about technique and things like that. And obviously, we can also differentiate to account for those sorts of things as well. So obviously it is a practical course, and it does have an element of sort of working outdoors in all weathers and things like that. But I wouldn't be sort of put off by it being too physically demanding, if that makes sense, because we sort of differentiate for that in the way that we the way that we carry out the training. All right. Hopefully that answered your question, Ellie. Do you have any other questions? Okay, that's good. And if it's something specific that then obviously you can email me specifically about that, and we can pick up on that. Okay, so I think we just sort of come into the end there. Thanks very much, and hopefully see you all in September. But any questions, please email me or Helen. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.